bar comes down. Now, I don't speak great Spanish, but I definitely can't read it as well as I can speak it. But in Google Chrome, you can hit the translate button. And if the internet works for us, you can immediately see that all of the text on that page was transformed to English, because that's my native language. And so really, you can't do this in something like Flash, which is really, really powerful. So it's using the couple APIs together in HTML5 to present a better user experience, not only for compatibility, but accessibility. So another big thing for compatibility is Google Chrome Frame. We'll talk a little bit about that. This is sort of the current breakdown, at least as of July, of the browser share. So we have about 60% of users using IE or IE 6, 7, and 8. And then the more modern browsers are sort of lagging and staggering behind. So that's sort of the reality of things today. And as web developers, right, we have to do a lot of hacks on our site. We have to spend a ton of resources trying to work around these different browser incompatibilities. So this is an example of how I believe Chrome 5 renders the ACID3 CSS tests, right? These tests test layout, animation, pseudo-selectors, things like that. And this is what IE, I believe 6 or 7 when I tested it, renders it. So 20 out of 100, not too good. And so as developers, right, we have to, again, do all these hacks and spend all this development cost getting around these issues. This is what Google Wave does for IE6. There's too many just advanced features in Google Wave that they just said, hey, let's punt on this. We'll show them a pop-up, users using that browser, and give them an option to install Chrome Frame. And what Chrome Frame is a plugin. So think of when you have IE as the browser, right, there's the UI of IE and the page renders inside of IE. What Chrome Frame does is when the user installs it, it actually renders the page inside of Google Chrome itself. So you get the CSS and the layout and the speed of the V8 JavaScript engine and HTML layout. You get the security and sandbox of Google Chrome. But the user is still comfortable because they're using IE as sort of the UI. And so if a site works in Google Chrome, it's going to work in Google Chrome Frame. So that's really beautiful, right? You don't have to really target all these different browsers anymore. Another tool for compatibility is a tool that one of my colleagues put out, which is the Modernizer library. Instead of using navigator.userAgent for checking what browser the user is using, it's far, far better to use feature detection. So if you have a geolocation application, right, you should detect and see if that feature is available in JavaScript. If it's not, then fall back to a different solution. If video isn't available in HTML5, fall back to Flash. Same thing with audio and other solutions. So what this does, this library, basically when you include it on your page, just runs a suite of tests and just creates elements, checks a style, or sets a style and checks a style. And if that all checks out and comes back true, then you know that feature is available. And what it does is annotate the HTML tag with all the features available in the user's browser. So it's just a great tool. It's a minimal download for actually getting this stuff up and running. And then you can do things like in JavaScript, right? Check the modernizer.audio to see if the audio tag is available. Pretty simple, true or false, a Boolean property. Another great site, caniuse.com. So if you've ever wondered what features available across browsers, just go to Can I use this feature? This is using, I think I typed in transitions for CSS transitions, and you can see across the board which browser versions exactly use and implement these features. So Safari, Chrome, and Opera doing really good. Firefox just added support in 4, and then Internet Explorer 9 is sort of nebulous at this point, but great resource. Also another resource that is a complete hour-long session. I only have 30 minutes, unfortunately, but the developer tools themselves are really, really fully functional. We saw a little bit of the storage capabilities, and you can query and see what the browser is doing. But also network traffic, things like timing, debugging JavaScript. You can actually edit a page and build your web application without ever having to press refresh. I promise you, I've done it. It's really, really cool. Another great site, and thank you, Michael, for referencing it. This is something our team put out. I'm actually one of the contributors to it, HTML5rocks.com. And it's just, we have tutorials, we have sample code, we have the playground where you can actually experiment with each of the APIs. And we just launched, I believe yesterday, as part of the site, is an HTML5 Studio. So the Studio is really about really cool, flashy samples, right? There's different APIs that highlight geolocation, video. We actually have, if you want to take the presentation that you saw today in the previous talk, we have a sort of a template that you can start using to implement some of this, and you can change certain properties. All right, and it's really cool because it's also reusable code. So this stuff is available on the web. It's all open source. Here's an example of using the file API. So for instance, I can use drag and drop, HTML5 drag and drop, to drag files from my desktop to the web browser. And we'll read those using the file API and apply some cool CSS transitions and float those up. But that's really great. So we can do things like, maybe we have an MP3 player. We could read MP3 metadata in our application, whereas we couldn't before. Let's show you another cool demo here. So this is using the video tag. And sorry, I apologize if you can't see it too well, but basically there's two videos here, right? And I can toggle in between them. And this is using video tag and canvas and some custom controls in the video tag. So this isn't the default browser UI, but UI that we've come up with. And you can see sort of the effect, the shadow effect, the glow effect on either side of the video, which is pretty cool. And that's just using canvas. So using canvas, you can read image data and set image data from the video tag itself. So you can read literally frame by frame and set that inside of the canvas. So it's analyzing the pixel data. One other quick demo here before I quit. Everybody likes showing video demos because they're really, really cool. Again, just a HTML5 video, right, playing using the native browser controls. But what's cool about this, again, is it's using Canvas. It's using, well, I guess we can see what it's using. HTML5 video, Canvas, CSS 2D transforms, and a mask feature. So if I apply the mask, you can see the CSS mask is being applied here. It's really cool. So again, it's reading frame by frame and applying each of those to Canvas and turning that into ASCII art, which is really, really neat. All in real time. So that's how powerful JavaScript is now. So I think that's all I had. My last slide is just a bunch of resources, sort of the sites I highlighted. If you do have, I highly recommend using the developer channels of all the browsers, because these are where the APIs sort of first, HTML5 APIs come out first. So experiment with them, use them, give us feedback, right? If you guys don't develop on them and use them in your apps, and we won't know there's bugs or feature requests that you really want implemented. So file bugs, crbug.com for Chrome and sort of WebKit bugs. If you want to follow us on Twitter, @ChromiumDev is sort of where we make our developer announcements related to Chrome. And then there's an HTML5 discussion group there at the bottom. And I'll post these online for you to get all these links. So thank you. That's it for me. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
好，那我非常谢谢 Eric 给我们带来精彩的演讲。好，那接下来时间就是中午的午餐时间哈，所以各位就可以凭各位的背举后面早上报到的时候拿到了这个餐盒，好，来领取免费的便当。好，那下午一样在这个场地有其他这个 HTML5 的 session 好，如果你还有兴趣的话，那下午不要忘记了继续回到这边。好，谢谢大家。